What's up, SMR people? It's your boy Butters. We're back for another MOTOCAST. This time we're going to be covering round 4 of the AMA Supermoto Championship. This time took place at the 83rd annual Sturgis Bike Rally. We call it Supermoto because it was a Supermoto event on Supermoto bikes, but there was very limited asphalt. They tried to bring in some asphalt for us, but we tore it apart. But we got Bronson back from racing overseas and doing flat track back rows this event, and we actually have him on the call today. So what's up, Bronson?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Bronson?
We got Johnny Bang and Simp and Samp with us as usual.
Heyo.
And we're also under the lights here and stuff, so it might be a little dark. It was a little dark for us.
Yeah, it was just a little dark for us.
We are under the light.
Damn, Bronson, you got some wheelied off the line, bro.
Dude, both races got a wheelie.
Dude, I sat there spinning.
Did you clean your start area? Did you go and do burnouts like Nikki did?
No. So it's a kind of like a flat track secret, but I moved my body position based on how much traction there is to the rear wheel. So I sat further back on the seat to provide more.
Just pull up.
Exactly. And so I was sitting a little bit too far back to where I was doing a wheelie essentially. Because Supermoto you have full traction, so you sit on the tank, but in flat track you kind of try to find that medium middle to back to where you're not going to wheelie but you're not going to spin.
Yep. I don't know, you got good traction though.
Yeah, this is the event for Bronson.
Which is weird, dude. I was struggling so much in practice. Buffum and Nick ran such good lap times. I was
they ran 4 seconds a lap faster than me and you in practice.
Yeah, I was so confused.
Yeah, I wasn't sweating it too bad because I had tried a different set of just stock motocross forks on my bike, thinking that we weren't on the asphalt, my stiff suspension was just not the move. So I put the softer suspension on and I left my caliper bolts loose. So I missed pretty much all my qualifying time, and I got I don't know, 3 or 4 laps around the track, and I did that 126 with some super soft forks I didn't like, and I switched back to my normal stiff race tech Supermoto spec stuff for the race. But yeah, when I saw me and you were back there, I'm like, how are they doing that? But then I was like, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, and we did. I mean, if I looked at the race lap times, and I was a lot closer, or we were close to their practice times, and I was like, oh, sick. We dropped, and I think it was the lack of vision. I started not being able to see where I was going, so I just went faster.
And also the track got rougher, so the track got harder to go fast on the more laps we did too, because it rained so much coming up into this, and some of the corners you can see how the ruts are already starting to really form.
Yeah,
and stuff. By the end of the night,
after the tabletop where we're going into that tight double left, it was really rutted and really bumpy going into there.
Mm-hmm. And then we had Buff Daddy on his 250F and stuff out here,
Cleaning up.
Just flying.
Yeah.
The outside worked pretty good. It was pretty even, it looked like.
Yeah, I ran it a lot the first moto just because I didn't want to follow. I just wanted to try just be in a different spot and not get sucked in to a pace necessarily, but it was definitely slower once I moved to the inside. I felt like.
Do you guys know if Nikki was on a 16 for his front?
I believe he was on a 16-inch front rain tire.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He might have been, because I remember he brought some tires home from Europe with him.
Yeah, he had that that Michelin. Yeah, dude, that corner was so dark that we're watching right now.
So dark and rutted too.
Dude, yeah, and that was one of the more rutted corners. And I was behind you these first few laps, and I was so scared. I was just like, Bronson, please don't cross rut. Whatever line you're going into, I'm just gonna follow you. And I hope I hit a line good.
Because that was next moto, right? That yeah, it was next moto. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you guys got gripped up fast there.
Yeah, this moto, the top 4 of us were all running on the same second, pretty much. Charlie's just all over Nick on that 250F.
I know, it's so cool.
I didn't like, because you were on the 252, but you were definitely, it seemed like it was, because there's that long uphill here where I feel like a 450 coming up onto this section where we do the step up and you're on the throttle. Like you land this and you are on the throttle. This is where a 450 is going to pull a 250F, but Charlie's barely getting pulled, if any. Around the outside.
You love to see it.
Just disgusting.
Damn. What were you thinking, Bronson? Were you like, oh, it's go time?
I was like, yeah, it's go time. Let's go.
Ooh.
So then you run it up the inside of Nick.
Yeah, yo.
And then
Oh, Bronson left.
we'll get him back. And then I was like, well, these two just made it happen. Nick's probably flustered, so I tried to stand up and run it in right here.
Ooh.
But we like
Oh, but he takes it
our
back.
bars got stuck together, and then so like I tangled with him on his throttle hand more than I thought I would. So I was kind of like, I didn't mean to hit you that hard.
I didn't like this corner. I couldn't
Oh,
figure it
I
out.
loved this corner.
It always felt like
That
slick
corner
to
was
me.
hard.
I just couldn't
Yeah,
trust
that
it.
corner was hard. You're not wrong, dude. You back, Bronson?
He's back.
Oh, that was weird.
Charlie was sending it to the absolute moon up that
I couldn't do that. I overjumped that thing a couple times, and my wrists were pissed.
Yeah, but you're also on stock moto suspension where, like,
Yeah.
I ran that stock front end with a stiff rear end, and it was like the most atrocious thing I'd ever tried to do because the bike was hella unbalanced. But just the soft suspension on this track was not the move and stuff. So like Charlie's on diff, Supermoto spec stuff. Bronson is, Nick is, I am, and then you're
Nick
out there
was on
stock
GP stuff. S1 GP.
He's got that Franco Malo.
He was on an MTR.
And for those curious what we're running, we're on rain tires here.
Yep. Yeah, and you can see like that rut we're doing right there. That's the gravel that they laid down for us. That
Quote
was-
unquote asphalt.
It was quote unquote asphalt, but it was gravel that got some type of sealant put onto it and steamrolled stuff. So it kind of looked like asphalt, but we shredded it. This corner that
Oh, so I stalled
yeah, I
it.
forgot Bronson stalled it. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I looked back and I was
Yeah.
like, how do I have such a good lead over these guys?
But yeah, that section where we do where we started off of, when we come back out, jump out of the flat track arena and go up that, it was so skatey. Except because we were just tearing that gravel apart, but it was also pretty fun because of it.
It was like a true flat track corner. I felt like you could really just hang off the bike and really use your body to maneuver how much traction you needed.
Yeah.
I was trying to kind of like carry as much momentum through that wall jump as possible, because when you landed, if you're already going faster, it's a little bit easier to get going than it is if you're going slower, you know. And so that was kind of my goal going into it.
Dude, and the dirt on the motocross track was definitely so tacky and soft, but like not slimy. Stuff so
Yeah,
it was like two totally different. Like we come over here and it was like hard pack blue groove, and then some of this inner TT stuff was like still moist, kind of slimy. So we had a varied range of surfaces on this track.
Probably the most we'll ever have.
These ruts got gnarly. This is Moto 1, they're already looking gnarly.
I was confused as to how there was 10 ruts going across when everyone was using the same rut.
No, I think the top four of us were, or maybe even all the open pro class was, but then maybe the amateurs stuff weren't. I don't know.
Dude, I almost got bucked so hard going off of that one lap.
Jeez.
Was it on the far outside one, or was it the?
It was like I think it
third
was
one
like
from the
second or
inside?
third from the inside
Yeah,
or outside.
yeah, that one was a nightmare.
they had more of a kick to it. The outside one was just like deep, but it seemed like it was just more straight.
It was that, yeah, you almost skipped the bump. I didn't like, so this inside corner was cool. I was able to rail that one decent, but I didn't like this section right here because I always felt like I was going to slide out and go into that fence.
Yeah, our own giant.
I touched the fence. Yeah. Back to
Oh, Butters.
Yeah, I blew my handguard up. Yeah, I was all over there, Nick there for a minute. So, but he was definitely, when you guys first passed him, he got tight for a couple laps, real bad. And then, as I wasn't able to get around him, he started to smooth back out and breathe and be like, okay, let's focus. But Charlie's fastest lap in this one was a 1:23.8, and he was the only one to get into the 1:23s on this.
Oh, that's so cool.
Jeez. Yeah, so he was definitely flying.
Yeah.
Especially once I stalled it, I lost touch with him, and I was like, great. So that
And I mean,
help.
you actually weren't that far off of him. Except like your fastest lap is only 4/10 slower than his.
Yeah, not crazy off his.
Yeah. Dude, that corner right there, that 180 that we just went through, that one, when the start of this moto was so tractiony down bottom, like I saw it from you when you passed Nick and went to the inside there. So we were kind of running up into the berm in practice, and it rutted up pretty quick, and it got to the point where it tried to grab your pegs.
Yeah.
And then you were running that inside. It was so good, but we grooved that thing out and made so many different weird bumps and grooves in that corner so quick.
It was almost like falling into, like, try to go to the inside, and then there was 5 ruts coming out, and it was like, okay, how do I?
Dude, that 250 was probably the move on that stuff right there, where we and all of us are just like struggling to keep the bikes hooked up.
Look at that handguard straight up in there. No, yeah, Charlie was riding really good. I was like, jeez, I gotta catch this guy. He's on a 250.
He's been practicing in the 250 class, just like he had just been out in the 250 moto before this one, and he's just out front showboating, just having a good time, banking off edges and stuff. And just now he's just like, all right, he knows the lines, he's ready to go.
I wonder what would have been if he hadn't been running 4 classes, tired himself out for Moto 2.
I mean, no.
So you can look at it that way, and you could also look at it as like, maybe if he didn't get the extra track time, would he have known the track is good in certain, like this moto per se?
Yeah, like in certain ways he did have the jump a little bit on this one. He had good knowledge of how, because like this track broke in, we had very limited time on this. We had just the qualifier, which was, what was it, about 20 minutes? And
yeah,
because we had lightning in the area, there was they had the delay because of the lightning, and then everything needed to progress, so they had to shorten the schedule, because we were already like, this moto happened at probably 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, we were running with flat tracks.
Yeah, and so we got that one session to learn the track and put a time down, and I fucked that up for myself. A lot of guys were just like, it was such a long track, and you're just trying to sort it out and trying to figure out where you want to go. And so Charlie having that extra time in the beginning probably was helpful. Like Nick hole shot, and he didn't get to see where anyone was going, so he's just going, he's trying to protect lines, but also trying to figure out how to go fast still, because he's got 6 laps on the track so far. And then Charlie goes by, and Nick's probably able to, well, those first few laps Nick went backwards quick, but then he regrouped and he figured it out.
Found some lines.
Yeah, like how Charlie was sweeping out wide right there and then running this middle, because that inside was chattered out.
It was from the night before when we did the flat track. All the grooves that were getting set into it, it was just, your front end just wanted to push because we're going backwards through it. So.
I did not think you guys were going to be able to race that day.
Dude, I don't know how they made a track for that. That was insane. Like, I was so surprised, and it actually was pretty decent.
Dude, Charlie's just looking so hot. Like the wheelie out of that corner onto that tabletop face. Bronson with the sexy slide.
Yeah, he was getting that. I saw him doing the wheelie in the tabletop, and I was like, okay, because there was so much traction. There was more traction than I thought in that infield section.
Yeah, and then Bronson, your fastest lap was actually this last lap we just completed, the 9th lap. So
really?
That was your fastest on the motor, yeah.
Wow, on the white flag lap, or coming to the white flag lap.
Yeah, and Charlie's fastest lap was that lap he passed Nick.
Lap 2 or 3 or whatever it was.
Lap 4, yeah.
Wow.
You can hear Buff Mama. I could hear Buff Mama every lap for me too in there.
Every lap.
She's just yelling at me to get Nikki. Hell yeah, Charlie. I mean, I'm not stoked that we got beat by a 250F, but like, if it's one man to do it, I'm cool with it being Buffy.
Yeah, I'm stoked he got his first Open Pro win, Moto win with that one too. That was pretty cool.
My fastest lap was that final lap right there.
The last lap, huh?
Yeah. I did a 124.5. You had done a 124.2, and Nick did a 124.9. But Nick's fastest lap, oddly enough, was the very first lap.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Or the first complete lap, so like second lap, you know.
He definitely struggled that race because this Moto 2 he definitely came around a little bit. With, it seemed like he had more speed than he did in this one.
And I mean, for as dark as it, for as dark as it looked and everything, there was definitely spots of the track that were like sketchy. There's no way around it, but it was fun to ride. I had a lot of fun riding this track.
Yeah, I did too. It was honestly, I think the GoPros make it look a little bit darker than it actually was too.
For sure.
I mean, it was dark.
It was just that one corner before the big
right-hander.
tabletop, and then the 180 down the bottom in the far back corner, like 2 corners before that corner. That was really.
I liked that
you had
they
a hard time.
incorporated the flat track. Like, it was cool, but I do miss the tree section from last year. I liked that portion of the track.
Yeah, because last year was the first year that we were back at Sturgis during the rally, but it was full motocross track. We did the motocross start, gate, and everything.
That was where you laid in the rut in that chicane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, I saw Nick do that, and the guys from like Jack Pine Gypsies were like, "What?" And they were like, mad and stuff. And I was like, "Well, I want to do that now. That was smart." He just like ripped a line smoothie now.
Yo, Butter's my GoPro on? Yep, yours is red, dude.
I have so much footage of people saying, "Is my GoPro on?" No, and then they turn it off. And then the next video.
No, it's not.
I feel bad for Pecoraro this round too. He came in all sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not feeling well at all.
I tried first gear this start and it still didn't work out for me.
That
First
line
one
went
I tried
out.
second. Dude, Nick just tossing it that first.
Yeah, he tossed it right in front of me. I was like, "Jeez."
Like, okay.
Yeah, Butters, what
Okay,
happened to you
chill.
on this first lap right here?
Here, check it out. Dude.
Oh no, the stall.
Yeah, and it just didn't want to go, dude. And then
He blew Dawson's race too.
Yeah, poor Dawson right here. Watch it in front of me. In front of Pecoraro.
Oh no.
Dude, that was that section I was talking about where it was so dark and they put a tractor there with some lights to try to outline those ruts so you could kind of see definition a little bit more. But like I was saying, it was so.
Side note:
almost
who
looked
else
like
thought
that
that
truck was
truck was
gonna go.
moving? Yeah,
Me.
Oh my gosh.
But that dirt was so soft and tacky that it's like if you cross-roaded, your front end was just gonna knife and it was just gonna stick in that plant and it just threw Dawson over so hard. Poor dude dislocated his shoulder.
Which like I'm wondering if because I didn't know he got stuck behind you right there, like, and he got passed by a couple people, and we all know how that is as racers. It's like, like it's like, oh, you're a little frustrated and like I got to get these guys back, and maybe he started trying to just push a little too hard in that section.
Yeah. Oh, look at the OG right there watching you inside the track.
OG. I didn't even know he was there until like 3 laps to go because he like was in my goggles basically with a 3 in his hand.
Dude, did you I had my goggles start fogging up. Poor Dawson.
I did. Oh, Dawson. I did not get any goggle fog, but I did, however, run out of tear-offs, and my goggles got very muddy towards the end. I think you'll see it, but I actually had to toss the gogs.
I didn't have any tear-offs, and so I didn't run into that problem, but I had, like, my sweat started, like, spraying and spattering onto the inside of my lens. I've never had it happen before, but the last 3 laps of this race got brutal to see.
When for you had a lot of work to do because you were...
Yeah.
You were deep.
Yeah, you can see I'm right there on the outside.
I think at one point I did a look up. I was like, "Wow, what is he doing over there?" Figured you'd be right behind me and buff him.
Not this day. And you guys definitely had some pace this moto. Like,
I think our lap times were better this moto than last moto, right?
Well,
Yeah,
what was that, Nikki?
Wait, was that where he almost went over the bars?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and he just was leaning forward, not having a good time.
Old Pat walking beside me.
Heard that Pat's the biggest fan of Nirvana.
He loves them.
We're just gonna start putting that out there on the internet.
Pat Schaefer loves Nirvana.
That rut right there was getting so...
Dude, yeah, but the rut that you
took my
foot
hit
off. That was my rut too, like just to the outside of it. It was so good.
And it was smooth, and honestly I think it was a little bit faster because you could carry so much more speed.
Dude, how Nick just got through those switchbacks was so clean.
Chicane seemed like it got tighter and tighter.
Every lap.
Dude, I hit that pole with my handguard one time.
Oh,
same.
Dude, that poor handguard. What were you doing to that
Just
thing?
crashing it.
Dude,
Every post you could hit, you were hitting.
Yep.
You guys are still pretty tight right here. All 3 of you.
Yeah, Nick was throwing some sauce and over jumping that jump, and I was kind of like, man, that's gonna be tiring. I feel like towards the end.
Yeah, because that, like, you're landing uphill, so it's like an extra G out to it, you know?
Yeah.
They had that truck parked there so we could kind of see this rut, and they had the tractor parked here so we could kind of see these ruts this moto. And I think that's what made the track go faster, because the first moto, we couldn't see that. Because the track was rougher at this one. And what time was this? Like, I think we started at like 11.
Dude, yeah, it was probably like 11, because I remember, I think we left the track around midnight, and I had about a 13-hour drive to Spokane, Washington for the flat track race there the next day, and we got there at like 2:30 p.m. Practice was at like 4.
Did you guys make poor Mikey Helm just drive through the night, or did you help?
I drove. I mean, I was stoked, you know.
Yeah,
so I drove
on that race win adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly. So I drove for most of the night, and then I think Tony might have driven a couple of hours, and then Mikey kind of finished her off, I think.
What a warrior.
Yeah.
So Charlie just set his fastest lap of the race that lap.
Which was a 122.
122.9.
9.
Yeah. So almost a full second faster than he did the first moto when he won.
And he's in third.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to like, yeah. If you're like, oh, I dropped a full second from Moto 1 to Moto 2, you're like, but I'm still behind these two guys.
Is that Johnny Bang yelling "Get in there, Bronson"?
I think it was Zachary.
Is
That's Zach's camera right there.
Dude, from Zach's camera, you could hear Buff Mama yelling.
And so this one right here, because like you were on pace to pretty much match him, but you messed up on the end of that lap, Bronson. But Nick just set his fastest lap of a 122.4.
And that was on lap 4 or 5, right?
4, yeah.
I mean, where would you really pass? Where are the prime spots on this track to pass?
Downhill.
It was up this hill.
Backside.
You could like try to late apex someone and get a drive and go inside him right up this hill. You could try to run them down into this hill, into this inside here, and then the next 180 after the tabletop. But then the flat track course was really hard because you had that chicane going into it, and it just made it so single file that it was really hard to make passes in the speedway oval.
Yeah, unless you're just on the gas so much earlier than the other guy, there's almost no way to make a pass in the speedway section. I think coming where the really dark corners, that right-hander where they put the tractor for the lights, before the tabletop, you could go inside, outside. There were some lines there, and you could really, I think, carry a lot of momentum around the outside and pass someone over the tabletop. That's kind of what I did to Nick in the first moto.
Yeah. This moto, dude, I was trying, but I didn't go any faster this moto than I did the first moto and stuff. But I did not feel comfortable sending in those when maybe it was partly seeing Dawson weed himself too, but I was just like, I don't know, I just didn't have it in me to. There's times where it's like the old Streets of Sturgis track was very dangerous too with the way they would have stuff set up, but it never bothered me and stuff, and I always did really well there. But this one, there was certain things where I was just like, I don't feel like I really want to push right now. And you guys were fucking spinning it.
I think with, like you said, with Dawson crashing in front of you, that didn't help your mindset. And also, you weren't in touch with us because you stalled it and you were so far behind. Yeah. There was really nothing, like, I mean, were you going to catch us if we're all on the same pace? I mean, no. It's,
I'm not going to catch.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, like, in a mindset, kind of right.
So, exactly. There's not that motivation there naturally.
Like, if you wouldn't have stalled it and you were in the battle with me and Nikki right now, like, yeah, you'd probably be, like, okay, I'm here with the boys. Like, you're coming.
Yeah. You just find it. And this corner was so fun. You just slide in here, sweep through that inside. Like, I'd wheelie onto that thing right there. It was so fun.
And it was really surprising how much traction we would get with the rain tires.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Dude, the ruts we had in that phase were gnarly. And, like, the camera makes it look pretty flat.
Well, you see that Nick was going to the outside rut, which had more of like a real big bank to it, and I was kind of staying more to the left, and it didn't seem like it had much of a hit to it. It was a lot smoother.
Are you starting to like try to figure out where you can, because like that now it's like you've kind of reeled them in a couple times almost, so you trying to start to figure out like where you can try to set up a pass, or are you not even to that point yet where you're like trying to figure out where it can happen?
I was definitely setting it up. That's why I took the inside right there. I was like, all right, let's see how much, like, if I can make an inside pass here. If I get side by side with him down the hill, I can go to the inside and come out in front of him.
Right.
that was kind of one of my first thought process on a pass. But yeah, that was like you saw right there. I lost a little bit of time on the inside. It wasn't as fast.
Could you make this outside line fast? Was anyone making that fast?
Butters
This outside line?
Yeah, Butters was using that outside pretty good.
Yeah, but this second moto, I pretty much used solely the inside. Other than when I was trying to battle with, like, I think I had a battle with Haddle for quite a couple laps before I got around him, and I was using the outside then just to not follow and just
look. There was the goggle top.
Oh yeah,
dude. Oh, that's what. Yes. So for 2 laps, I was getting some fog, so I couldn't really see.
But it was like on the inside of the lens, right?
Yes, and then what happened was a big dirt clod came up and hit my my goggle, and over the tabletop, I think a lap and like so now 2 laps before this, I wiped it and it got worse, and it was just smeary and foggy, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And that's why I was like, so for lap and a half, 2 laps, I was riding with just smeared vision.
Yeah.
And then I decided I was like, you know what? We got to be almost done, and I just tossed them.
Yeah.
what part of the track did you feel like you had speed on him to like reel him back in those times?
I felt like I was pretty good. Like, oddly enough, I feel like he would gap me right there.
Why do you throw his hand up right there?
Because I screamed at him.
He's like, "Hey."
You could slightly hear it before. I was like, yeah. But through the TT section, all this, I felt like we were pretty even. Maybe he was a little faster, and that might have to do with the chicane entering the whole section. But then as soon as we hit this section, I felt like I would really close the gap a lot. Entering the off-road.
Use him to like base how you laid apex and set him up too.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was this lap or if it was next lap. Yeah, it was this lap. Look at that. So I thought I was gonna land on him right there. I thought I was gonna land on him. I was like, no way. And yeah, I was stoked that we didn't collide. Because I saw him hit, kind of like let off, and I was like, and I just like, you know what? I think I can get him down the hill, and I just like didn't hit the brakes at all, and just tried to scrub it, and he like stayed a little bit lower than I did. But then we landed like side by side just because I was carrying so much more momentum.
And you had the inside at that point.
Yeah. And that was another thing too, is like get on the brakes and just try to keep him on my left, because you don't want to overshoot the turn trying to beat him there. You just try to have you have the inside. You just gotta try to hold the inside.
Yeah. Be patient at that point.
Yeah. So when do I run my fastest lap of the race?
You would run your fastest lap 3 laps ago, on lap 6.
Okay.
And stuff, and that was 1:22.49. So Nick had you beat by a couple hundredths on overall fast lap and stuff. He did a 1:22.44, and you did a 1:22.49.
Okay. Yeah. So we were like almost identical.
Yeah. And then Charlie had done a 1:22.9. And I had stayed in the 124s like I did the first moto. But like Charlie, he saw he had a gap on me because look how far back I am. So if you guys are gone.
Yeah, plus for you, like, look, Butter's on the left. Yeah, no, like, this track was one of those tracks where it's tough to, like you said, it's tough to push if you're not in that group. And luckily, me and Nick had each other I had him to grab onto, and he had me behind him pushing him. So it was
and you two kind of honestly had each other to push each other all year now.
Yeah, it's been the same all year, pretty much. Felt like another practice
in the World
day.
Championship. Yeah, you guys are learning tracks in the World Championship together.
Constantly just learning new tracks all the time, it seemed like. I think that's the toughest part about year one, is just learning tracks,
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. And I mean, I can see it just because you've definitely elevated the last few years. I'd say like since 2019, I feel like you really started becoming like a competitor in the 450 class. But then this year, you've like taken another step from just being like one of those guys that's like a top 5 podium threat type dude to being like, oh shit, he's got speed now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that came from going to S1GP, just learning a lot more asphalt.
Yeah.
That's where I my weak point was, and I think I definitely improved a lot on the asphalt. It's crazy how many fast guys are over there, and you're constantly pushing all the time because you're not like over here in America. Now we're kind of more up front, and like you said, you can kind of get a little lazy with it over here, and over there it's like, no, you're 15th place and 10th place. You gotta be pushing at all times because you're still how many seconds off Mark Schmidt and Lucas. Crazy.
Yeah, boy.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hell yeah.
Congrats, brother.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was.
There's Simp and Sam.
Dude, getting close to getting lapped.
Dude, yeah, no, that was such a sick feeling to like make that happen. And I was like stressing because no gogs, my eyes were tired.
Yeah, look how like Charlie just pulled up. You guys were gone.
Look, where's my dad at? He is laying on the ground.
What? Why was he laying on the ground?
I have no clue. But he was just like, it was like, yo. It was funny.
OG Rick Pearce.
OG. Dude. Oh, yeah.
That was a sick race.
Yeah, the track was pretty it was super fun to ride, like Butter said earlier. It was super fun to ride.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean, you could definitely. There's a bunch of things that like maybe we could have, if they could have brought out lights a day sooner, we could have tested those out. Maybe knew we needed more, or whatever, if ands or buts and stuff. It didn't really take away from the fact that it was a really good time to ride on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Last year was cool because it was just something we've never done.
Yeah, it was during the day.
And then this year was cool because it was kind of a show. It would have been cool. What I would have liked is if they like mocked up the TT section, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was a big voice in getting that TT part and stated because like Brandon Haddle had rolled through and he was like, it's good. And I was like, oh, come on, let's run it. And Nick and those guys didn't want to run it. Me and Gordy got into an argument over it and stuff.
No.
I sent Gordy an apology like a week after and was like, hey, dude, I didn't like how it was. I got a lot of respect for you. And he was like, Sam, we're all good.
No, dude, I didn't even know any of that went down because I was told that we weren't gonna run the TT section because it was too muddy, and I was like, honestly, it looks pretty good. Like they could probably just go over it real quick, and then we ended up running it, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, because they had skidded in that first berm that worked in really well, and that inside line we had was unreal.
Yeah, and I think it would have been really weird if we would have went all the way around the oval and then like did a tight left and then went up the wall jump, you know? I think that would have been kind of a weird section. Like a Butters doing wheelies around the track with Van der Rosa.
Dude, he's such an OG.
Yeah,
we rolled. This was my second day on the TM. Maz had left us to go meet you guys up in Matei. And me and Steve went to the track by ourselves, and the Aussie Loic, yeah, he was there, and Max was like hanging out with him and stuff. Now I don't know when he met Max or whatever, but like I was like, oh, I know who you are, dude. And I was like, I want to get some laps behind this dude. And dude, he's pulling these wheelies like while he's still leaned over. He's ripping faster than like most people do. He rips through the sky section here.
Oh my gosh, he almost just died.
I know. Yeah, this was like
so
following him through there. Like, cause like I kept trying to late apex those things. Dude, this section is way technical, way technical. And then that wheelie tap over that. Oh my god, that's sex.
Yeah, he like sat down real quick into that. Just Oh my gosh. I wish I could have followed them through there.
Yeah, dude, like he kept checking and I wasn't like, so he started going faster and faster the laps I was behind him.
Because he's like, oh, this guy's actually keeping up.
Yeah.
And you're in moto gear. He's like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting a lot of looks being in my like USA kit, you know, moto jersey. I go to yank up a wheelie here because I'm like, oh, wheelie guy's gonna let yank a wheelie. I want to yank a wheelie, and he's like, just going fast. I'm like, no.
And then you still pulled on him entering the corner.
Dude, that TM's unreal.
Dude, it handles so good.
So, dude, it doesn't even feel like you're leaned over and you're like dragging.
Leaned over. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this dude. Just wheelies.
I never got to ride behind Max or Maz at Castelletto.
That sucks.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Just never really had time or scheduling to make it happen.
Yeah,
So like the line that I learned was from Nicky essentially, which I mean he learned it from Maz.
So like, yeah, like doesn't hand me down, but yeah, Maz is strict about it, dude. Like he'd follow me, and as soon as he'd hop behind me, I'd just start blowing everything, you know. Like, and then I'd be like, give me a lap or two, come on, like let's keep going. And then he'd be like, you're not doing it right. I'm like, fuck.
Dude, that wheel tap was like a bike length.
Yeah, dude, he was so fucking sexy.
Were you able to do that at all in the GP track?
No.
I didn't know, just because like I know that the track had tightened up a lot more coming out of there. So
yeah, it was definitely different. Like doing the entrance we did here, and then right here I trimmed the video there, but I ran out of gas. Because like you know that TM's
dude, that thing slurps. Yo, there's all my sponsors. Go check them out. Dude, this track was sick. Ortona.
Where is this at?
It's down south, Italy. So it's like southern.
Dude, Italy has all the cool shit.
Dude, this track was one of my favorites, I think. Obviously aside from like Castelletto, and Ottaviano, but like this track was really, really fun. So that section right there was only 3 lines. Imagine, you know, the gravel pit that we were riding through at Sturgis. Literally, there was 3 lines of it was gravel, and inside, middle, or right. And the middle line seemed to be the best because you had a good apex and it was kind of smooth. The right one was really kicky. But yeah, this track was very technical though, with a lot of double apexes and
yeah, like. I mean, Castelletto is a lot the same way, but like the elevation change right there.
Yeah, the elevation change. You kind of go into a dip and then go uphill on your apex, and it was the weirdest thing. I bet.
I really like how you guys dive off the track into the off-road section.
Yeah, and through the S section right here.
What do you guys call this? Is this always called the sky section, or is that just
essentially, if it's they call it, if it's an asphalt like asphalt with jumps, or an asphalt like hill section, it's a sky section. But then if it's a dirt,
were those cuts on the concrete there Xing? Could you brake pretty aggressively on those, or not really? Like how they're like slashed like that? Did that add traction or no?
No, it didn't really make a difference. Didn't really feel anything different.
Dude, yeah. The Euro dudes aren't scared to just send it so hard.
Yeah, it was, this track was, Maz said I actually learned this track pretty fast, which I was kind of stoked on because of how technical it kind of is. But yeah, knowing the tracks there, oh my gosh, it helps immensely because, you know, you go back to a track for the second time, you're like, oh, okay. And you actually can ride it better and go faster.
Yeah.
Pretty much like anywhere, but you know. So that right there, that's Albie. Maz's
Oh, yeah.
Italian championship rider.
Yeah, that was the bike I rode for Nations, right?
Yep, it was that bike. So in this session right here, we were essentially doing like a mock race, and it was like me, Nikki, Saki, and then we just did like I think it was a 15 or 20-minute moto, just the whole session essentially, just racing each other, trying to beat one another essentially.
Huh.
And those were so helpful because it actually felt more like a race situation, and you had to like push and go fast the whole time. You couldn't slack off. Keep your head forward.
Yeah.
How many of the S1 GPs did you make, or did you get the whole season in?
I did the whole season, all 6 rounds.
Where did you finish up points wise?
Points wise, no clue.
I
have no clue. I know my best finish of the season was a 16th at Bulgaria, and then I know I think I scored some points in Sardinia, scored some points in Bulgaria, and
But yeah, it's only top 20 get points, right?
Yeah, only top 20 get points. So that's the tough thing sometimes is like, you know, you got Germany, Germany, there was like 40 guys trying to qualify. And if a German guy got 10th, he probably has more points than me in the season, you know, because he got so many points. And so I think the points in the championship don't reflect as good as they could, but
right, because you should be able to win on attrition if you have it, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, my best finish was a 16th in Bulgaria, which was pretty cool. That track was insane.
Dude, Pleven looks unreal. That looks so it looks intimidating, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you rode the sky section at Castelletto, so I mean, you know the feeling of a sky section now, and the jumps were bigger. There was an asphalt berm, which was insane to just feel. It was, I don't know, it was crazy being at that track.
Yeah, because like the asphalt jumps, you expect like there to be, I don't know, my mind thinks it's like going to be like a dirt bike. There's going to be some slide or some natural, like the way the rear end's going to kind of like come off around you as you leave the. Oh, what's up? Tucson.
Coming out.
We'll be there together in a couple weeks.
3 weeks? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. You guys will be in Oklahoma.
This is how I get into the mindset to go racing. Is I do my warm up laps standing up a lot.
You do your warm up lap like Max Banderosa rides a track. Wheelies everywhere.
Look at
And this is Reimer before he started wearing leathers.
I don't remember Maz qualifying on the front row that weekend. That's cool. Maz is such a G.
I haven't really ever talked to Maz a lot.
Oh, he's a legend.
Maz is so cool, and it's crazy now that like we raced with him, and now he's just like he's kind of like our coaching us. It's kind of funny.
Dude, he's a good coach. Like he's really good at like picking stuff apart and not being like negative with it. Like